Welcome to week 7 of Parker's Picks Mustache Edition. Last week at the drive-thru edition, we kind of popped off. We got 11 picks correct and we moved up 8 spots in the rankings. This week, we're going to keep that same energy and we're going to get a perfect 13 for 13 this week. There's 4 bye weeks, I believe. 4 teams that have byes this week, so not as many games. We'll capitalize and go ahead and get all 13 of them right, though. And so we'll go ahead and kick things off with the Jaguars versus the Saints, where the Jaguars will be victorious in the event that Trevor Lawrence plays. If Trevor Lawrence does not play, I'm taking the Saints. But I think Trevor Lawrence is going to play. We'll have to monitor it. Thursday night, I think the Jaguars win. Raiders against the Bears. I'm taking the Raiders. No use even talking about that one. It's obvious. Browns against the Colts. I like the Colts quite a bit this year, especially with Jonathan Taylor playing again. But with Anthony Richardson being out, I don't think that they will be able to beat the Browns. So I am going to take the Browns here. Bills against the Patriots. Look, I was spot on with my prediction about Ramondre Stevenson this past week. I said he'd have the biggest game of the year. He did. I'm going to tell you now, he's going to have a horrible week in Buffalo, and they're not going to stand a chance. Bills are going to win this one pretty easily. Commanders against the Giants. Here's the thing. We have to remember something about the Giants. First and foremost, they're not tanking, which is kind of surprising, but they're still trying to win games and get back into the season. And this team made the playoffs last year. They're not as bad as we think. They're a bad team, but to be honest with you, their backup quarterback came in, it gave him some mojo. He played really well. He had a chip on his shoulder. Maybe that if Daniel Jones does play, maybe he sees that competitiveness. He could lose his starting job. Not to mention Saquon Barkley was back, and they almost beat the Bills in Buffalo. So for that reason, I actually like the Giants here against the Commanders. I don't think the Giants fall to 1-6 after the year after going to the playoffs. I think that they're going to pick up a win here. I still am not big on them. But I do think that they are going to upset the Commanders here. So I'm taking the Giants. Falcons against the Buccaneers. This is a tough one for me. You know, I do like the Falcons. I think their defense is a little bit underrated. But that Buccaneers defense is accurately rated as being pretty good. And I think that the Buccaneers, they do a great job stopping the run. The Falcons, I think their biggest playmaker, Bijan Robinson, he might have a little bit of issues and a little bit of difficulty playing against this Buccaneers team. And so if we're looking at the pass, I mean, who are you going to take? Baker Mayfield throwing to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin? Or are you going to take Desmond Ridder throwing to Drake London and Kyle Pitts? I'm going to go with the Buccaneers. I like that lineup better. So Buccaneers against the Falcons in Tampa Bay. Lions against the Ravens. I love the Lions this year. Don't get me wrong. But do I see them being 6-1? I don't. David Montgomery's out. That can kind of mess up a team's, mental a little bit going into the game. The Ravens are really good, and the Lions, they're not going to have a way to stop that Ravens offense, even though the Lions defense is not bad. They've done a really good job stopping the rush. However, Ravens, they're not a traditional rushing offense. If it's rushing, it's Lamar Jackson scrambling, and I don't think that they're going to be able to contain him. I'm taking the Ravens over the Lions. I just think the Lions are not going to go 6-1. This is a little bit of a correction game for the NFL. Steelers against the Rams. For me, it's easily the Rams. Even though Kyron Williams is going to miss this game, it looks like. I don't think that Steelers team is going to be able to stop Cooper Kupp and all the weapons that the Rams has. Plus, the Rams defense is pretty good. So we're going to take the Rams there. Cardinals against the Seahawks. Give me the Seahawks. Packers against the Broncos. Look, if the Broncos are going to win another game this season, it is probably going to be this week against the Packers. But I got to say, picking against the Broncos last year did me very well, and I'm going to continue the same strategy. I'm taking the Packers here in Denver, not to mention Aaron Jones is back, and I think that he's due for a big week. I think Aaron Jones drops at least 22 points this week in fantasy. You heard it here first. Give me Aaron Jones and the Packers. Chargers against the Chiefs. This one could be a little bit of a shootout, but Kellen Moore, he's just not good enough. And the Chiefs, they're going to win this one against the Chargers. Dolphins against the Eagles. Both teams 5-1. The spread's pretty tight. They have Philly listed as a 1.5 point favorite, as you can see right there. But I am going to go with the Eagles here. The Dolphins, they did very poorly against the Bills defense. The Eagles defense is really good. I think they're going to have a lot of issues, even though I do like the Dolphins. Eagles are going to win this one. 49ers against the Vikings. Give me the 49ers. And that's all for Week 7. We'll see you next week when we are in first place.